You are thousands of miles from home when a medical issue flares up. You reach for the insurance policy you bought months ago, but as you scan the definitions under the fluorescent lights of an unfamiliar terminal, the specific terms for your condition don't seem to match the coverage you expected. Most of us approach travel insurance as a simple financial calculation. We look at a list of options, find the cheapest premium price, and click buy. We operate on the assumption that any premium paid guarantees a standard level of medical coverage. If we get sick, the provider handles the bill. But budget policies are built around rigid clinical definitions. These terms allow providers to deny claims based on minor shifts in your health history that occurred before you even left home. Travel nurses and clinical experts purchase insurance differently. They ignore the price tag and go straight to the contractual definitions. This comparison illustrates the core of their strategy. On the right is the definition of stability clause. If your health history doesn't align with this specific paragraph, the policy may provide no benefit when you try to use it. Modern travel insurance still covers chronic illness, provided you understand how to navigate these stability requirements. Choosing a policy based on price rather than contractual definitions creates a financial gap that often only reveals itself during a crisis. Look at this timeline. Policy validity is dictated by the purchase date. The clock starts the day of your first trip deposit. Immediately following that deposit, you enter a 14 to 21-day waiver window. Buying insurance within this window ensures that your known health history is grandfathered into the plan, requiring the insurer to cover pre-existing conditions. This security requires decisiveness. You have to research and select your medical coverage at the same time you book your travel. If you miss that window, the rules invert. The insurance company applies a look-back period, giving them the legal right to audit your recent medical records if you file a claim. They will scrutinize your health history for the 60 to 180 days prior to your purchase. They search for specific triggers. If a doctor adjusted a medication dosage, or you mentioned a new symptom during a checkup, those moments are flagged in their review. A single documented change in that timeframe allows the insurer to label a condition unstable and deny the claim entirely. Clinical experts solve this by reviewing recent doctor's notes against the policy's stability criteria before they pay for the plan. Waiting to buy insurance gives the provider the records they need to justify a medical denial. But timing isn't the only trap. A rural medical emergency often leaves you hundreds of miles from a facility that can actually treat your condition. Standard budget policies typically include a clause that promises transport to the nearest acceptable facility. This map shows how that works. You are moved to the closest regional hospital that meets a basic standard. However, the geographically closest hospital often lacks the specialists or equipment required for chronic or complex conditions. The solution is a policy with a hospital of choice or bed-to-bed evacuation clause. Under this clause, the insurer pays to fly you directly to the hospital where your own doctors are located. This level of transport carries a higher premium, but it changes your destination from a local bed to a specialized one. Standard evacuation moves you to the nearest available clinic. Clinical evacuation returns you to the doctors who know your history. This logic also applies to subtle health issues, such as autoimmune flares or sudden mental health crises. Standard trip interruption rules usually require a formal overnight hospital admission to trigger a refund for the remainder of your trip. This creates a gap where a traveler can be too sick to continue their journey, but not sick enough to be admitted to a hospital. As the checklist shows, you want a policy with an interruption for reason clause. This allows a physician's recommendation to validate your claim. Travel nurses use clinical advocacy letters to bridge the communication gap between your personal doctor and the insurance adjuster, ensuring your symptoms are taken seriously. To prevent minor issues from ending a trip, many modern plans now include 24/7 access to board-certified telemedicine. Video calling a doctor who speaks your language resolves concerns about a rash or breathing issue without you having to find a local clinic. These clinical add-ons ensure that you and your doctor decide when a medical issue ends your trip, not the insurance provider's rules. Choosing a policy requires matching these clauses to your specific health profile. For chronic or complex conditions, hitting the 14-day waiver window and securing bed-to-bed evacuation are the two mandatory requirements for a viable plan. Compromising on timing or evacuation in this category often results in a policy that cannot be used during a flare-up. If you have had recent minor health changes, you must focus on the stability definitions. You need to cross-reference your clinical notes with the policy's fine print to ensure you can survive a look-back period audit. Even healthy travelers heading to remote areas should look for telemedicine and hospital of choice options. Rejecting nearest facility language prevents you from being limited by local infrastructure if you suffer a standard injury. By aligning your insurance with your clinical reality, you can move through the world knowing your medical needs are pre-verified. Clinically sound travel insurance provides the logistical framework necessary to explore the world with your health in mind.